time for this moment to come. I'm destined for anything at all. Downtown, lights will be shining on me like a new diamond ring out under the midnight hour. Well, no one can touch me now. Well, and I get up my bed, it's too late. Ready or not at all. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! Dawning.
Hey everybody, welcome to yet another edition of Let Me Tell You This About That. And today, normally I have Mr. Kevin Kane on my left. How you doing, Kev?
Good morning. We're doing the morning edition. Is it
Morning edition.
afternoon, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're here in the
okay.
morning time, and you know why? Why are we here in the morning time, Lauren?
We have a very special guest today.
Who would that be?
That would be the incomparable Mr. Tony V.
That certainly would. Welcome to the show, Mr. V.
I hope you didn't do this in the morning for me because morning is not my, stand-up comedy and mornings don't go hand in hand. That's why Lauren called, texted or whatever, however she got in touch with me, some sort of witch machine you kids use. And she said 10 o'clock, and I said, no comic in his right mind would get up and speak at 10 o'clock.
I'm
It
with
was
you.
actually probably my fault because I have like 800 sports things to do with my kids.
Oh, yeah.
So it was probably...
How old are your kids?
I got a 14, 10, 6, and 5, and they all play sports.
It's good.
So,
On the same day at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yes.
Any hockey?
yes, I got 3 that play hockey. One's playing right now.
Beautiful.
And 3-3 against Winchester.
Nice.
So, yes.
Nice. We used to, my son, when he was younger, played for Charlestown.
Oh, yeah?
And we used to love beating the suburbs.
Yeah.
We had this imaginary beef with the suburbs.
Oh, yeah, it's like us.
Yeah.
I coach a 10-year-old team whenever we play in Dorchester. That's like always in the pregame speech, like, these guys are scared shitless to come into Dorchester.
Right.
They're scared, they're shaking.
Oh, they were. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their mothers are out there with their Yetis and the Canadian Goose jackets. That's definitely part of the pregame speech.
Yeah. We used to take pride, and we kept it going. We didn't tell the kids. Why smarten them up?
Yeah.
It's just grow another generation of morons.
Yeah, that we hate playing Southie. Where we're actually doing this podcast. Always great to be in Southie, Jay. I don't know about you guys, but when I parked my car and I had to take an Uber to get here.
Did you take a dirty Uber?
Yeah, like right now I think there's probably a hockey game going on. There's like 4 soccer games on.
Yes.
Legit.
Oh,
There's some fucking weirdo yuppies. Did you see that tennis court?
They're
like what like paddles like what?
I believe there is some kind of tent revival at the end of the street.
Yeah, I saw that.
Tent revival.
Like they were banging bongos.
Oh, dear God. And
Oh, a
there's
drum circle. I love a good drum circle.
Yeah. Like what?
And then there's like a fun fest at the other end. I'm parked in a no parking zone with 900 others, so they can't take us all at the same time.
No.
So there you go. That's where I'll be.
Strengthen
I got a parking space right across the street.
Of course you do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Wide open.
I even actually I didn't illegally park. I just saved a spot for you too in case you wound up getting waylaid.
Yeah.
But I figured he's from Charlestown, man. He knows his way around.
We can figure it out.
Absolutely.
Although, coming over, I was in Cambridge. I had to drop my wife off at MIT, and then I was coming over. And I don't know why I do this, but I put it in the GPS. And I fucking know how to get to Southie. Why? And they're taking me, surface roads and then down Broadway. I go, no, I just would have went to the plant and taken a right, and I know where Farragut Street is. I've been here a million times.
I had to do that from Fenway Park to Dorchester the other night. Now I know how to same thing. Fenway Park, Dorchester.
You've done it.
Right.
I'm going down quick, like legit through the Heath Street project.
Yeah.
Because it was probably 30 seconds. My 10-year-old goes, "Where are we?" I go, "Hey, no one watching news when people get shot." I don't know why I said this to him. I go, "This is where it is." When people say like Dorchester rocks, like, "Oh, Boston's bad," I go, "They're talking about this area." Legit, we were in the Heath Street projects.
Yeah, like 6 streets.
Like, why am I driving through the Heath Street projects at night.
Waze took me down, like, and then like back and around, like the old toll house. Like I was trying to go to the Mohegan Sun, and like it's like instead of going down where you live and getting on the highway that way, it took me down like the Whitey Bulger tour, where I'm like, oh shit, like,
There's a body over here, and there's a body buried over there, and one over there. Yeah,
like what are you doing, Waze, man?
Yeah.
Good thing it's the daytime, but yeah, no. It's funny, actually, Tony, I used to work in Charlestown Court, and I had a friend that I met there my first day, and I didn't know where Charlestown was. Lifelong resident of Boston. I just heard about it.
Sure.
And my boss was like, how do you get there? He's like, take the bridge. So I walked across the bridge, and I met this probation officer friend of mine, Leah, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And like, and I kind of knew her from being around, and I was like, how's Charlestown as a town? She goes, let me tell you this. She goes, when I was a kid, there was this guy that lived down in the old colony projects, and he was one of the original people that like took drugs and then like tried to Superman off.
Sure.
Oh, there we go.
And this poor guy's now a paraplegic, okay? Ooh. So long story short, the crack epidemic happens.
It's an uplifting story.
Oh, yeah, it really is. Well, this guy's a survivor. So.
Wait, it's going to be a feel-good story.
It is a feel-good story,
Yes.
actually.
I was hoping you said he took off and we never saw him again.
Yeah, no. He's out handing out advice still.
Yeah.
So the crack epidemic happens. He's freebasing, and he sets himself on fire. Third-degree burns now.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yes. So
It gets even better.
So it gets even better. So he runs across Leah, and he's like, Leah, how you doing? She's like, oh, how you doing, buddy? And he's still good. He's like, you still up in Southie? He's like, and she's like, no, they're making me, they're going to transfer me out to Charlestown. And this guy looks her dead in the eye and goes, Leah, be careful. They're fucking crazy over there. So that was my intro to Charlestown, man. And
what year was this?
that was probably like 2009 or so.
The change had happened. It's the same thing over there as here in Southie. It's changed. Like, I went out this morning and looked out my door, and there were 3 types of Teslas on the street.
Types of Teslas.
Yeah.
I live on a side street in Dorchester, and my kid hit a Tesla with a street hockey ball.
Right.
Like, the house across the street from me in Dorchester went for $1.5 million.
I haven't seen that, yeah.
To look at me. Like, to look at my fucking idiots playing, like, hockey.
Yeah.
Like, nothing should be $1.5 million. Especially in Dorchester.
Right.
I got home last night, went to the BC hockey game, got home at like 9 o'clock at night. I had to carry the 5 and 6-year-old in. And the person in front of me parked like an asshole. This person managed to park, taking up 4 spots.
Oh, I hate that.
It was miraculous.
He fucking had a plan.
So I'm carrying
the X's.
So I'm carrying Tommy, the 6-year-old, in, and I'm dead sober, screaming, like, yelling, like, this is miraculous. You parked like a complete asshole. You took it, and then I yelled, "Hey, congratulations! Spent $1.5 million. You live across the street from a lunatic." Like, as I'm carrying the kid in. Like, who's spending this money to live near me?
Yeah.
Like, fucking. And real quick, I want to touch on the mayoral election.
Okay, yeah.
I was saying to Jay.
Oh, let's tell Tony. Tony, every now and again, we have a Kevin Kane off the chain segment.
Okay.
So I just want to be angry real quick.
Do the theme music first. There we go.
Like,
there you go, off the chain.
everyone knows I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not really buying a guy either. Just he's less of a fucking idiot than I thought Donald was. But this mayoral election between Wu and Anissa George, sidebar, I'm a big Anissa fan. I coached Anissa George's kids in hockey. I'm hoping, maybe I can parlay that into something. Kidding. But this whole fake news thing, I'm starting to fucking believe it. This turned me into not like a Trump person, but fake news is real. They did a story the other day saying Anissa's accent is fake.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
It's a dog whistle wink to the old Dapper O'Neill voters. Hey, I'm one of you. I have an accent.
Both of them?
Yeah, but that's insane to me. I have videos on my phone that Anissa sent to me, from her video in hockey. That accent is 100% real. Believe me, I've heard her screaming like a nut at the hockey rink. Believe me.
Accent.
Come on, Connor, shoot the puck. That's Anissa. She's a real hockey mom.
Yeah.
The Globe is writing an article saying she's faking her accent to get old white people to vote for her.
Right.
That's insane. So, not that I'm a Trump person, but maybe, the fucking news is, completely shaping this election.
Do you think she turns it up at all?
I was going to send Jay, I will show you these videos.
Right.
Her
I'm a
accent
fan of the accent, by the way.
It is 100% real. Like I have a video on my phone of her videoing the kids playing hockey.
Right.
It is 1,000% real. Like I said, we had a kid on our team named Connor, and it's like legit. Come on, Connor, shoot the puck, shoot the fucking puck, Connor. 100% real. And then just watch it. I wanted to be angry because I can't do anything else. I wanted the hatred. I watched a debate the other night. And Michelle Wu, if you've, like, her whole campaign as a senior running for student body election is just, pizza parties every Friday. You don't have to wear your uniform. No homework. It's like things you cannot do. You cannot make the tea free.
Not as a mayor. No.
Like, for the tea to be free, the governor, the House, and the Senate president have to be on board. They laughed last week when they said, like, she won't do that. They're like, hey, that's crazy. You can't do that. And people are just like, oh, okay, she wants to make the tea free. Let's vote for her. Like, you can't do that. But the Globe and everybody's pushing the stuff that way, and Georgia's going to get smoked in the election.
Yeah.
And nothing Wu wants to do is going to get done. She thinks T-buses not being electric is like one of the biggest problems.
Where mass and cast should be.
I work on Methanol Mile.
Yeah.
Legit, I had 4 people behind my back wheel shooting up the other day, and I had to ask them to move so I could get on my parking spot. And the one guy was like, just run us over. I'm like, well, I can't.
That's an option.
That's
an option.
In the winter,
You said it was okay, so here I go.
It's the only one on the table.
Yeah, as long as you ask permission.
There you go.
in the winter, you used to have to check to make sure there wasn't a cat on your engine. Right. Now, we have to check under our wheels for people. Like the triple across the tents now, and I don't know. That just, if you vote for Wu, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. So I'm done. Sorry.
Have you ever heard Sarah Rose Brenner on NPR? 90.9. She's got the thickest Boston accent for a reporter that I've ever heard in my life. And just this morning, I said to my wife, if she doesn't interview Anissa, I am going to be very unhappy because it would be the best Boston off I've ever heard in my life.
I can guarantee it, and I have the videos on my phone. I sent it to a few people. Vanessa, she'll record a goal. Or she always was
she's a hockey mom.
Yeah, she legit is a hockey mom because I was a coach and I couldn't record anything, and she would send the videos, and it's her screaming in the video. And
well, I think
as long as she doesn't have a cowbell, she's okay with
that. Oh God! John, my wife has, because my kid's a goalie.
Yeah.
My wife has fought people with cowbell.
Yeah, good. I like your wife.
I believe that.
I like your wife.
To the point where she showed up on a cowbell. Next time we played, and would sit right next to the woman when we scored, and just start ringing the bell like, what's that? Huh? You like it?
This is why they're afraid to come to Dorchester, folks.
Right.
Basically, yes.
But 2 things. One is Mrs. J, my wife. If you guys think the Dorchester accent is something else, the Mrs. comes from Merrimack Valley, and that shit is on fleek. Like, if you thought the Boston accent, go and watch The Fighter from, remember the Marky Mark?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen the documentary?
No.
High on Crack. You ever seen that?
What is it? High on Crack Street.
High on Crack Street.
Dickie Eklund story.
It's a documentary from the 80s.
Yeah.
On HBO.
It's on Dickie Eklund, and it's just a guy with a camcorder as they're smoking crack in Lowell at a fucking tenement.
Yeah.
It is the most fucked up documentary.
I will add that to my watch list on Netflix.
But and then just to put a button on it, the thing with Anicia, which I'm saying that wrong, sorry. But the thing about that thing, this is the first post-Trump election, and it is getting run through some kind of dog whistle test that I don't think is fair, and to Anissa, because to be honest with you, I understand why people are super sensitive about the race dog whistle, but I don't personally think it applies here, but that's just my opinion. If anyone else out there has one, you're welcome to it, and that's why we have an election coming up. But yeah, so I feel you. The fake news, I think the filter is just a bit much coming from the Globe, to be honest.
It's almost like they just have nothing better to do. Let's just make this one up. Let's just
They
put this
kind of
out
lean
there.
into shit.
I'm
that
like, but there's real issues you could be talking about that are a little bit more important than a freaking accent.
and then that's it.
Well, that I think you hinted at it. There are no real issues. That's what they have to go after. I mean, there are, but they're staying away from them, so there's nothing else to.
I could do 3 hours on the
Sink your
exam
teeth
school
out.
thing.
Yeah.
Like I got one at Boston Latin, and my 10-year-old has zero chance to get in because he goes to a private school.
Right.
And they cut off private schools can't get into Boston Latin Academy anymore.
You're kidding me. When did that happen?
They changed it this year.
Yeah.
The Cliff Notes version is they give kids who go to a public school extra points in the test.
Yeah.
So if you have both get 100, the kids who go to a
Right.
school where they give certain schools points,
Yeah.
they're going to get the tiebreaker. So
I see.
they
So
figured out-
they're
they
all
figured
but
out
eliminated.
If a
private.
kid goes to MECO private school or 4 public schools,
Yeah.
automatically don't get in.
They don't get it.
So I'm going to be shelling out more money for high school.
Well, I mean, because when my kids were young, that was our plan. We sent them to private school to get them into the
Yeah.
exams.
I mean, I was too fucking stupid to get into Latin. Yeah. But I got one at Latin, and I was hoping to get the other.
I'm the only one in my household who has not graduated from Latin.
Yeah.
My wife, and both my children. Yeah,
I went to Don Bosco.
yeah.
Yeah, I went to BC High, but that's about as far as I went. But it's funny, Tony. I always say, welcome to the podcast. Come for the comedy and stay for the parenting tips, man. We usually get some good ones, man. But
Absolutely.
But yeah, so folks, we're going to turn it over. We just want to ask. We're lucky enough to have Mr. V in the room, and just want to try and get a feel for what life's like for Mr. V, man. Like so you've been a lifelong Charlestown resident, haven't
No, I
you?
grew up in Somerville.
Oh, okay.
My wife's from Charlestown.
Okay.
But I mean, there was, even then, I'm older than all of you. Back then, if you were from Somerville, we had a beef with Charlestown for some reason. Nobody knows what, but you would not go into Charlestown. I mean, although it was probably less than 3/4 of a mile from my house,
Yeah.
it was just a whole different world.
Yeah.
But my wife's from Charlestown. My kids are from Charlestown. I'm from Somerville.
Now, how big was the initial family? Like, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and a sister. One of my brothers passed away not a couple 3 years ago. They're both older than me.
Gotcha.
It's pretty traditional Catholic. My 2 older brothers were 11 months apart, 10 months, had
That's why I got
birthday.
2 at 11 months apart.
Yeah,
11 months in a day.
Yeah.
People are like, wow, you have a 6 and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
11 months apart. Wow. I go, you think that last one was fucking planned?
Planned, right.
I called in sick. I went to see Black Mass. Yada, yada, yada. I got one fucking 11 months apart.
Right. Yeah, so that they had birthdays in the same year. You know what I mean? So for a few months they were the same age, and then I got a sister that's a little younger than me. Yeah.
Now, how old were you when you just knew that you were funny? Like were you fast cut up?
No. I mean, I was. I've always been a fan of comedy and stuff like that from the beginning. When I was young, and I had gone on to do other stuff. I was actually, I went to college and everything, and I was on my way to becoming a social worker.
Really?
So I was in my mid to late 20s when I started. I think 26, 27 before I actually got myself on stage. So it was quite late in terms of figuring it all out. But I had, I didn't want to work in mental health anymore. I helped a buddy of mine who was running for mayor of Somerville. He lost that race, and then they were going to give me a job in the administration because we backed the other guy, and I was going to become the assistant head of social services in the city of Somerville. That was the path I was on, and then I met with the guy who was going to be the head. And after about 10 minutes, I said, if I have to spend every day with this guy, I will fucking kill one of us. Okay. And so,
Jump ball, too? You didn't know which
it
one?
was just awful. And that guy later went on to do time for stealing quarters from parking meters or whatever.
Oh,
you know?
shit.
You know, so my initial assessment was absolutely dead on.
Always
You
going
know,
to be good.
so I had I can assess people that way, generally speaking. So then, right then, I just severed all, hopes of having a regular, normal life and threw myself into comedy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How'd you start out?
I started out by going to shows. Like I said, I'd always been a fan of comedy when I was a kid, and this goes back from when I was a kid listening to Bill Cosby albums.
Yeah.
I had those too.
Yeah, Wonderfulness and the whole deal. The Playground, the Chicken Heart. I loved that shit. I just loved it. And please don't get me wrong. I think he's an asshole,
Yes.
but he was funny.
Oh, himself.
was.
Yeah.
I had those albums growing up. I had at least 4 Bill Cosby records and I had 2 Pat Coopers.
Yeah.
And I would listen with my headphones on the shag carpet in our living room, and I would just laugh because they were funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Bill Cosby is just dead to me now.
Yeah.
But it's like he was funny back in the day. He really truly was.
It was a different,
Different time.
Yeah, different times. And I loved all that stuff that we had the Firesign Theater, and then I got into British comedy a little bit with Monty Python and stuff like that. And then I started going to comedy shows when as soon as the clubs opened. I was still doing social work, and then they asked me to introduce, because I was hanging around like an idiot. And I think one day, the lore is that one day a MC didn't show up, and they asked me to just go up and introduce people.
Gotcha.
And I can't really remember because we were all high back then, if that was the truth. But there's some grain of truth in that I eventually started hosting shows. They gave me my own night, and that's where I learned. Yeah.
What was the first stand-up comic that you ever saw perform?
Live?
Yes.
The first stand-up comic, a fellow by the name of Dennis Wolfberg in New York City. I was dating a woman at the time, this in the 70s.
Yeah.
And we went into the city. She lived in New Jersey. And we went into the city, and it was at the comic strip. And I believe that, Dennis Wolfberg was the first comic I ever saw live. Mm-hmm. I used to stay up late and watch the Tonight Show when I was way too young, creaking through the door when I was supposed to be in bed. Yes. That's how much of a fan I was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Dennis Wolfberg at the comic strip.
Were you hooked after that?
What's that?
Were you hooked after that?
Oh yeah, I thought this is. When you're a working class kid coming out of like Somerville, Charlestown, Dorchester, whatever, these are only dreams. These are aspirations. You don't think the people you see in the little box in your living room, were manufactured. Like nobody can do that. Not just a regular person. And then you realize everyone's just a regular person.
Yeah.
And then you give it a try and you suck for a while and then you get better.
True story.
Yeah.
Very true.
Man, that was I think that's all of our stories, man. I remember like mine was I had an unfettered access to HBO at an age younger than I was. That was probably appropriate, but I was watching Carlin and Pryor.
Right. The first specials, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And and like the same thing, like we got to see Bobby Collins at Giggles like about a month ago, but I remember being like a young tween and being like, man, when I move out to California, man, I'm going to Pasadena and I'm going to the Ice House and I'm going to meet Bobby Collins and like, I hear you. I don't know if it's a Boston thing, but there's a idolatry of stand-up.
Yeah. There's something, and then when the scene started, I was just as the wave was breaking. The people like Lenny Sweeney, Gav had started Don Gavin had sort of started the stand-up scene around here,
right?
And then 3 months later, I started hanging around, and that's how I got started in Boston. Yeah.
Now, did those guys just start off at the Ho, or was there another place?
No, the scene goes like this. This is what I can remember. There's a guy by the name of Sean Morey.
Yeah.
He was a street performer, like at Faneuil Hall or whatever. And during the winters, he would go down to Florida and be a street performer. he decided one winter he didn't want to go to Florida, so he moved. He started teaching a class on basically street performing, juggling and tricks and unicycles and whatever. And that turned into a comedy class, which was taken by two guys, Paul Barkley and Bill Downs. They started the Comedy Connection, which was on in the Schubert Theater, or across from the Schubert Theater, in a lounge. And then from that, Nick sprang up, which was right down the end of the block from the Comedy Connection.
Yep.
And then the Ding Ho started shortly thereafter. The Ding Ho was in a building called the Springfield Street Saloon. And I know that because my grandparents lived on Springfield Street. And when I was very young, my grandfather used to book numbers in the Springfield Street Saloon. So I was very familiar. That's where I grew up. I grew up in that neighborhood,
Right.
2 streets over from where the Ding was. So then it turned into the Springfield Street Saloon. Then DJ Hazard and Barry Crimmins took it over as the Springfield Street Saloon. It shortly thereafter became the Ding Ho.
Gotcha.
And that's how that whole thing started. They had an outfit called Constant Comedy, and they used to do a local radio station. They'd do radio vignettes and stuff. And then the Ding started from that, and from that Stitches started on Com
Stitches.
Ave. Mike McDonald booked Stitches first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I remember that. I just remember looking in the newspaper and just seeing one whole comedy page.
I remember that from
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was so much fun.
Remember Calendar magazine?
Yeah.
And you'd see like the big, huge page of just all the comedy clubs. All the comics were coming, and I'd be like, oh, when I get older, I'm going to go to these comedy clubs someday. Took me forever to get there. But it was just like, that's what you saw. And and it was just like everywhere. And when I really started, thinking about comedy, I was like, I don't know, high school, early college days and stuff. I was watching those shows all the time. Any kind of comedy show that I could find on TV, I was watching it, recording it on my little VCR when I could get the thing to work, and just watching them thinking, I really want to do that. But I always kept that to myself. I never told anyone that I wanted to do that because I didn't have the encouragement to do comedy. I mean, my parents were great, don't get me wrong, but they wanted me to go to college and become a teacher and and that did not work out the way I kind of planned. And then comedy did not truly come to me till I was like 48 years old. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of what we do.
Yeah.
There's no age limit.
Exactly.
If you can talk and figure it out, you can do it.
There you go.
know. But listen, I gotta imagine that there's nobody. I mean, a very small number of people whose parents go, "Yes, you should become a comedian." I absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going through it with my kids. Because
how's that feeling actually?
I wish that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I
They
mean?
are.
But when I look back, they had nothing but fun. Coming from coming to shows with me and meeting the people they met, and I think when my son was like 15 or 16, I got him to meet Captain America, at Comics Come Home, and the year 2 years after that, he was arguing rock music with Michael J. Fox. So you go like, well, yeah, I guess I didn't show them the hardship of it.
Yeah.
I only showed them the good parts.
Right.
They don't see me, driving in the middle of the woods, at 1 o'clock in the morning coming home from a gig because they won't put you up.
Right.
True.
You shelter them, but it's a business now. It wasn't a business when we started. When I started, it was not a business. It was just a bunch of guys who liked the hours and getting high and playing cards.
Right.
That's basically what it was. And I say guys because it was all working class white guys from Boston, this scene anyway.
Yeah.
And to see a more eclectic approach, you'd go to New York or when we eventually got to L.A., you go like, oh, there's different people and there's more to talk about than Watertown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
So you sort of had to grow because our brand of humor was very local.
Yeah.
Very local. We talked about, observational shit that we all knew about, the electric buses in Harvard Square and and the barbecue at this place or whatever, and so it became very local. And early on, when people would come to, TV people would come, they'd go, look, it's funny, but does it play outside of Boston?
Does it make it past?
Does it make it right? We're playing to Ohio, and that's when people started thinking more and changing it.
Which is funny because like it seems like we're the blast furnace for comedy here, because it's like the training that the comics get, where it's like every 6 seconds punch, like it's a lot more
different style. There's a different style, and that comes from the people that we all watched and learned from, and Lenny Clark and Gav speaks a mile a minute, and Sweeney's just out of his fucking mind, He is. And in a good way, but he's nuts.
Yeah,
and so a lot of people mimic that, who went on to great fame, who have done very well for themselves.
Right.
And then there were those, then I took a distinct different approach. I go, I don't want to be like those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be me.
Which was like, honestly, and again, not because you're right here, but you kind of blazed your own trail. And between the Samsonite thing and then even getting on Seinfeld and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just I kind of did, it was on your terms kind of.
I had a very, narrow path. Yeah. And I tiptoed that path in my own way. It's still a struggle. You know what I mean? It's not like, I can sit in a hammock, although I'm going to go do that for 3 weeks in December in Aruba.
Yeah, God bless
so periodically I do get to sit in a hammock. But it's not all that. It's, it's still work. I literally last week I did a show in Hardwick, Mass. And if there was a town in Mass you told me I hadn't been in, I would have called you a liar. But I found one I hadn't been in.
Right.
And I saw a fucking sheep on the way to work. I go, who sees sheep? I'm going to do stand-up comedy. You shouldn't be seeing sheep. The occasional cow or, it's nice. An alfalfa farm off in 95. I get it.
Yeah, on the way to Maine.
Right, I get it. But sheep? Who's keeping sheep in Massachusetts? And, and I got there and there was a auditorium full of people. I go, if you told me there were 180 people here,
right,
anywhere that would come to a comedy show, I would have said no. Well, but we find them.
That's the thing. That's really weird because post pandemic and Kevin's been here in the ground seats too, and Kev's got chickens in Dorchester.
Nice.
We do. Vietnamese people next to me, they got a fucking chicken that they don't keep locked up.
So he just comes over and visits.
Yeah. So my fucking 5-year-old won't use my bathroom by himself because the chicken's in the fucking tree outside the window. And the fucking Vietnamese guy is like, oh, you see my chicken? Because my wife went out there and started cutting branches. Oh, why are you cutting branches down? Because the fucking chicken's in the fucking branch. I was like, oh, that's where the chicken lives. Put him in a fucking cage.
It's terrorizing my child.
Yeah, like my fucking 5-year-old I'm sitting on the couch. Dad, I gotta poop. Go poop. You've been pooping on your own for 3 years. But the chicken.
Dude, the therapy.
Come on, Lou. Fucking lock it up.
You're hitting it out of the park as a parent, man, but the chicken's going to
the chicken's fucking shit up.
Your kid's going to have a chicken fetish when he grows up. Like,
come on, fucking
put on the feathers, you dirty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
That's a free-range chicken you got there.
Yeah, it's a free range.
Ghetto fucking chicken.
It's a Dorchester chicken. It's got a fucking leg bracelet on.
Lou's fucking shit up for me. I'm trying to watch TV.
But yeah, so that's the chicken deal. But the funny thing is post pandemic, like I said, Kev's been sitting there listening to us because it's going. We don't have any clubs, so it's you got to take comedy on the road. It seems
right.
And honestly, the funny thing that me and Lauren been finding out, a lot of people I've never been to a comedy club. Really?
That baffles me when people say this is the first comedy show I ever saw. I go,
really? Where have you been?
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Yeah, you didn't stumble into
How do you get by?
Yeah.
I mean, there's one, like I said, there's one every. Well, I was coming back from New York. I drove down to help my daughter out in New York City. She lives down there now. And we were, my wife and I were driving on the Merritt Parkway in Connecticut, and she saw this thing for a diner. I got a thing for diners. And so we had to take a little cross-country trip in Connecticut. And my wife goes, "Where are we?" I go, "I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just, I've never been in the middle of Connecticut. Right. I've been on 95. I've been on the Merritt. They both end in New York, and that's what I know. Right. And then I stop at a light and I look. I go, "Oh wait, I've done a show in that building." And then we drove another 3 miles or so, and I go, "Oh, see that parking lot? There was a tent there last year, and I did a show in there." She goes, "I thought you didn't know where you are," and I go, "I don't. I wouldn't know it."
I just know landmarks.
Right,
my career landmarks.
There we go.
And I've done that countless times, like been driving through a town and go, "I've never. Oh yes, I have been here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's me with courthouses and hockey rinks. I know where every courthouse is. And
what's your favorite rink?
My favorite rink I coach at is Northeastern. Matthews.
Oh yeah, Matthews Arena. Yeah.
Especially playing when you were a kid, just because it had the balcony.
Yeah. That's like a legit arena.
Yeah.
My son played there. Yeah.
The worst one is the ice. They call it the Ice House in Drake it.
Oh, anything in Drake, it's got to be rough, dude.
It's got to be brutal.
Well, actually, on a side note, sorry to stop the podcast just for a second, but Kev, I saw on Hockey Town, they're having Zamboni tryouts, brother. This is me and Kevin's.
The big Zamboni driver?
I got to coach a game in Hockey Town on Halloween, 11 o'clock.
You better bring your vaccine for whatever they have at Hockey Town.
Do they still use the ice downstairs where the pillars are in the middle of it?
No, they got the street hockey upstairs.
Okay.
Then the two on the side.
Okay. Because there used to be a rink.
Yeah.
With the supports for the building.
Yeah.
Were in the middle of the ice. You had to skate around them. Yeah.
So I told the team lunch at Hooters right down the street from Hockey Town.
Whenever we get to Boston, Tony, we run a little Cheers theme to let people know from around here.
It warns our listeners. It helps.
Exactly.
Boston's coming.
Yeah.
Hockey Town is a palace. The one side is just cinder block wall.
Yeah.
There's not even any glass.
Right.
Like the first time I took our kids to play, they're like, "Coach, what the fuck is this?" I go, "This is the rink bell." Like, what do you do? Just shoot it off the wall? Like, if you want to clear it out? I'm like, "Yep."
Yep.
Like, you can get checked into a cinder block wall. You're like, "Yeah."
Yep.
Yeah, this is not Stardom, kid. This is like the Bad News Bears
It's like
version.
fucking prison rules hockey.
Hey, that's why people are afraid to come to Dorchester, man.
What other ranks look like? Because when I was playing even in high school and stuff, we had open rinks. It was just like a roof with open signs.
Severian used to be
And I played for Mattnon for a while, and there was one in Arlington and whatever.
That's where the wife's from.
Yeah.
Spy Pond.
Spy is right by Spy Pond.
Oh,
Christ, yeah.
Liz Kane, shout out, folks.
Nice.
Fucking Spy Pond.
Yeah, but it was just like a roof, and it came down to about 12 feet or so, and like the wind would blow the puck.
Yeah. The one where you live used to be like that when I was a kid. It used to be an outdoor one.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, we'll actually bring it back to comedy-wise. One of the things that saved me and actually, I will tell Tony how me and Lauren kind of set things up here. We met kind of on Facebook because my son just turned 30 this year, and he did the Appalachian Trail.
You got a 30-year-old son?
Yeah.
I would have said you were 30.
I'll take that. Yeah, no, I started him young. And
this is what happens when you're old. Everyone's just young.
Yeah, well, I was before 16 and pregnant was an MTV staple hit. It was a DC high sensation.
I see. So you started young, is what you're saying. You sort of you started by mistake.
I was blessed early, exactly.
Yes.
But
an idiot like me and have one when I was 38.
Well, there,
I had one when I was 46.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Yeah,
that's fucking I'm gonna tell you
the first one.
The first one at 46. Good for you.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah.
Well, though that was the thing, though. To set the table. Long story short, Lauren was a student of yours at a comedy class.
Through Laugh Boston. Yeah, we teach. And I've told Lauren this in private, and I'll make it public. I can't teach anybody stand-up comedy. No. But if there's something in there, we'll drag it out of you. That's the approach I take. Yeah.
Well, which is an approach that honestly, because I've grown up around here. You always hear about comedy classes, and I took one with Rich Gustis and at the comedy.
Good
studio.
man, very funny.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
And so my son was in town, and Capo was free, and I was like, hey. there's a thing. Let's go watch a bunch of new comics go hit the wall down at the fucking Capitol. We're gonna have a good time watching these horrible fucking newbies just do their thing, because I love watching that too, because I love watching just people try it even if they're not good.
Yeah.
And we
I love a train wreck.
Me too.
You're talking to the king of the train wreck. If someone's eating it on stage and it's not me, never happier. Never happier.
Me too. Well, I didn't have the chance because every single person that went to your class did well enough that I was like, these people, this is polishing that you don't see from rookies. So long story short, even I remember Lauren's thing. So
she killed that night.
She killed that night.
Thank you.
And we became Facebook friends, and I was on a comedy timeout because I was hurt from my job and I was on workers' comp. And then the pandemic happened. So the only thing that saved our souls fucking period was Giggles, opened up the tent.
The tent, yeah.
That's true.
And we just went like as much as we could, and we got a master class from like Gavin and like everybody. But even honestly, Tony, like seeing you, and like you're a guy that is like, I'm not saying again because you're across the table, but you're just as vital as a comic, like, as anyone. You're just timeless, because like, I mean, your new shit, you always add in, like you're not going on. Like,
I like what we do. I mean, for good or bad, I think it's an art form. Might be a low form of art. Might be right above finger painting. I don't know, or below,
right.
Depending on your
judge.
Yeah. But I like what we do, and the creating of a crafted piece of comedy means a lot to me.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So
I would like to ask a question.
You go right ahead, girl.
How often do you like sit down and write new material? Like, is it when you just happen to be, driving in the car and you think of something, you write home? Like literally, I was working on a new bit and I'm coming over here and I just start talking my bits through. And I literally said, Jay, I need a piece of paper because I had to write down a new ending for a bit that I was working on.
Yeah.
Do you get them? Like, is it every day you write something? Every week? How does your process work?
Here's what I would say. My comedy process is when the mood strikes me. You're not fertile all the time. I do write something most every day, but not necessarily for my act.
Okay.
Because I think that the process of writing is what is where the germ of an idea starts. Okay. So even if it's not funny, or it's just a random thought I had, or something I heard that, sparked an idea, I'll write that down, and then usually 2 or 3 days later, I go, oh, I can do this with that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Lately, my new kick now is, I don't know what the fascination with young people and cooking shit in a waffle iron is. I don't know how that sprang up.
Right.
And I'm going to get to the bottom of it, because you can't go on your phone without seeing somebody putting something in a waffle iron.
That's not a waffle.
That's not a waffle. That's not what it's designed for. Right. And you go like, they're going to go, wait till you see what this looks like. And I know exactly what it's going to look like. A fucking waffle.
Of multicolored goo.
Yeah.
And you spend like fucking like
7 minutes
untold
watching
time.
it.
I know.
And they're so good at going, it only takes a minute. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I've been watching this for 20 minutes and you're not even close.
And this is the 800th one I've watched. Like, you think I'd dummy up at some point.
I don't care that you can put muffins in a waffle iron. I don't, but it seems to be a thing. So that's, something that started as like my kids going, Dad, you got to see this, and me going,
why?
Just because we have pans.
And I do
cook a burger in a pan too.
Absolutely, and you have a segment about like how ridiculous like things that get likes are versus things that happen in real life.
Yeah. That started with the guy putting the eggs in the waffle iron, and then there was this miraculous whale swallowing that people went, yeah.
The guys from Cape Cod, we can't believe him.
Yeah, right.
That guy 100% didn't happen.
100% did happen.
Really? You should hear it. Like Tony will fill you in.
I can take you through the whole thing. The whole thing, because his first mate saw him, it's Mike Packard. Yeah. He's down diving for lobsters, which
is
suspect in itself.
Yes.
You want to say, way easier ways to get waffle. I mean, to get lobsters than diving. And plus, how intent, how focused are you on catching lobsters that you can have something the size of a school bus sneak up on you? You know what I mean? You got to be really focused on your
fucking
on you. Like if I'm under the water and like seaweed touches me, I go, what the fuck was that? This guy has a whale sneak up on him.
Sneak up on him.
Like there's the other whales.
Took some Adderall.
Yeah, he's just focused, man. Like you just picture there's other whales, around the corner somewhere going.
He's like literally creeping. Like, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but the guy's life is fascinating. He's been struck by lightning twice.
Yeah. Oh.
Twice. He's been in a plane crash that 3 other people died in, and he walked away from.
Oh, right.
And he walked out of the rainforest after 4 or 5 days with no provisions, unharmed.
And he turned down an invitation to Epstein Island too.
Yes.
So. He's bulletproof.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's that's the way.
So
social media.
Right. So I do the whale bit, and it started with another whale bit, and then just coincidentally, my wife suggested I read Moby Dick. And I go, no.
Always trying to better us.
Yeah, right. I go, I don't read. I'm busy. I'm playing poker on my phone. I got hair to trim. I got things, Yeah. And so now the whale chunk has become like 15 minutes of whale stories.
Right.
And for right now it's going well, but every once in a while I hear people going, "Is it all about whales?" Is the whole show? The whole show's a whale. And I go, "There's no whale comics. Why wouldn't I be the whale comic?" You know what I mean?
Blaze that trail, man.
Yeah.
Well, I love the bit that you do about last year when they finally said UFOs are real, and people were like,
Yeah.
Yeah. The government comes out and says that they have proof positive that there are things they can't explain.
Right.
And everyone went,
no.
Yeah, we got a pandemic and I got sourdough to make.
Yeah.
I'm very busy.
Yes, no, that's true, man. That's true. Kevin was afraid I was making sourdough when he came in.
Did you get on the sourdough kick?
I did not. No,
I
thankfully.
did not. I made a lot of banana bread.
Oh, good.
I made a lot of banana bread.
Yeah.
I'm paying for it now, but I look kind of cute with the little belly anyway.
Yeah.
But I didn't get into a lot of things in the pandemic.
Thankfully I didn't have friends, so I didn't have a lot of peer pressure.
I fell into the TikTok hole.
Yeah, Kev's giving
So-
all this.
Oh, TikTok,
Do you know where I ended up? I talked to have you heard about the bones, no bones?
What is
Oh,
it?
you guys got to check this out.
So somehow
Oh Lord.
these Chinese people, the Chinese government who owns TikTok, that were all fucking willingly just fucking giving us, hey, take all of my information.
Yes.
So-
You get in mind like no other.
My TikTok, you got the For You page that like directs the videos to you.
Okay.
Fucking nails it. Fucking anxiety, law enforcement, fucking mental health issues. Fucking right on point. Directs all these videos to me.
Couple of beers too.
Like fucking, but also thinks I'm a lesbian fucking like softball player. Like somehow those videos get fucking. Maybe
you don't know how they get in there.
porn history. Fucking the porn history lesbian softball players fucking found its way in. But there's the bones no bones thing in the last 2 days. Okay. I think he's a gay guy. He has a pug, a 13-year-old pug, and he stands him up first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't stand up on his own, it's a no bones day, and you go back to bed.
Oh.
It fucking makes no sense. Just go with it. And if he stands on his own, it's a bones day.
Oh.
So
all
you
right.
gotta-
He's got like 10 million fucking followers.
So basically, I need to follow a pug now.
So you follow a pug.
Okay.
He's
All
like
right.
Michael, Michael and our friend, or your friend
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the class. It's like him if he had a pug. Like,
Right, right.
like
It fucking makes no sense.
All right. Okay. I could
And-
get behind this. I really think I
There's
should.
fucking 10 million people sitting around their phone at 8 in the morning going, is it a bones day? All right, the pug's still on his own, guys. It's a bones day. And it fucking makes no sense.
So basically, it's like the next level of Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Oh.
And,
All right.
when this 13-year-old pug dies,
Oh, Lord.
fucking people going to be devastated.
yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Actually, this leads.
But if you tried to invent a world where that would be a thing. You couldn't do it.
It
You
wouldn't be,
couldn't
but
do it.
somehow
It just catches on.
TikTok fucking directed everybody
Right.
To this pug.
fucking one asshole.
Yeah.
What a fucking pug.
Now here's the question, actually a serious question for Tony, because this begs the question. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are TikTok stars that like around the country that are like getting into comedy, but it's a different medium than stand-up comedy.
It's the one problem with our business.
Okay,
not
that's what I
one.
wanted.
It's not the only problem, but one of the biggest problems is there's no criteria to call yourself a comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My wife and I marvel at this all the time. You'll hear, he was a serial killer, an insurance salesman, and a comedian. You go, just because he got on an open mic night. And that's all it takes is you can call yourself a comedian anytime you want.
Yeah.
What happens is, and when I teach my class, I tell people, I teach to a very specific medium, which is live stand-up comedy.
Correct.
Yes.
There's a lot of ways to get your ideas out. TikTok, Instagram, whatever the young people are doing is fine.
Yeah.
But to translate that into a live stand-up performance, no.
I've actually heard that, like these people that like are famous on TikTok.
Yeah.
They try to do a live show and it's fucking people.
They
like,
can't.
this is-
But
they
can't do it.
They can't do it.
They'll
They
pack a
can't.
room. They
They'll pack
have
a room,
maybe
yeah.
8 minutes of shit to say.
Yeah,
They'll
you can-
take Q&As and then sign pictures,
that's
and it's a success.
Yeah.
And you can't argue that because, the clubs, all they want is asses in seats.
Yeah.
They don't, if you're looking for club owners and the business to be the moral compass or have any sense of dignity, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
If they could put a monkey flinging shit at the audience on stage and pay it in peanuts, they would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what the people want. It's
Well, and it's a wacky fucking business model that we have, where like half our audience is afraid of us because they're like, we're gonna get picked on if we go there, and then then our business model is literally fucking, we'll give it to you for free.
Right.
We get no respect. There's not like a fucking
you
comedy,
can't. Yeah.
category in the Oscars, even though everyone's like, oh, comedy's hard, but but so it's always been set up like the Mitzi way from California, like, oh, it's a showcase, so
Yeah.
fucking, you just give your shit away,
Right. That's the look. This goes back to when cable started.
Yeah.
Because to get on late night TV back then was the crown. That was the thing you were shooting for. And then when cable came along and just started, with all of these shows that featured stand up because it was cheap. We started, and we're part of this. We started giving it away.
Yeah.
We got paid and you got notoriety, and then your money went up in clubs sometimes or this and that. But, it wasn't meant to be at the wholesale level that it's at right now.
Gotcha.
And I think people see a lot of shitty comedy.
Yeah.
And that's what they equate it with.
Yeah.
And then they had these things called Gig Salad and Gig Master, which was the internet thing where you would bid for jobs.
Really?
So someone would go, hey, I'm having a 60th birthday party. I need a comedian. Not like I want Jay or Tony or anybody. I just want a comedian. So you get somebody to speak for you or you do it yourself. You go, okay, for a party like that, I get $800, say, And then someone else will go, I'll do it for $6. And then someone else will go, I'll do it for $250.
Oh, shit.
And then they'll take the $250 person, of course, because they don't know any better. Then they say shitty comedy, and then they go, oh, we hate comedy. We had a comedian. Yeah, you had, somebody who
lowest bidder.
underbid everybody.
Do you remember I think it was last summer when we were at Giggles, and there was like this guest comic from like California. Young kid.
The kid that ate it.
Yeah.
He ate it. Yeah, he did.
I ate
That
it like
was
you
like
read
the most
you didn't see. Yeah.
awkward thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
You didn't see the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh.
Where when we were in our very private green room in the parking lot.
Yes.
He doesn't know any of us.
Right.
Right.
He's just, he knew somebody who knew somebody. I think he was a little drunk is what I think the problem was.
I
Because
wouldn't be
Mike said the
surprised.
night before he did okay. But he looked at me and go, how hard should I kill? I mean, none of these guys can follow me. You know, he's saying shit like that to us. You know, and I have my buddy Lou with me. And Lou goes, "Do you want me to knock him out right now?"
That is right. I love Lou.
Oh, me too. You know, and I go. Let's wait and see what happens on stage.
Yeah, see what happens. We'll work out in the wash.
You know, we'll see where this goes. But then it'd go. I'm not gonna go all out because I don't want to.
Oh, good plan, buddy.
And then literally before he went up on stage, he said to Mike Clark, he goes, "How hard do you want me to kill?"
What the fuck, what's up?
And Mike, doesn't take to that shit at all. He's just, and then the kid ate it like you read about.
Oh my God.
And then Lou's even better. The kid comes out sheepish as all hell, of course, because he knew it. Yeah. Nobody, didn't even look at him,
Yeah.
Right.
And Lou just goes, "You been on yet?"
L.A. That's what I gotta say about that.
And the kid literally started crying.
No shit, really?
Yeah, he literally started crying. They had Sharon, Mike's partner, had to put him in a car and send him home.
No bullshit.
Yeah. There was open tears. Listen, Boston had that reputation early on too.
Right.
When they started bringing in, headliners from New York and L.A. and stuff.
Right.
People would, sort of accidentally on purpose, as they say, put on the best shows in front of these guys. Lenny Sweeney,
right.
Kenny Rogerson, one of the most naturally funny people in the world. Yeah. Just killer shows in front of these guys. And by the time they get up on stage, the audience was just wrung out. And they had, quaint little observational stuff where we're just hitting them with, "Hey, fucking Dorchester, hey, fucking Watertown, blah, 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 blah." And it was, walked in many a night with, headliners just talking to themselves. Or by the end of by the second night, they're emceeing the shows and bringing up these guests.
Gotcha.
Because it was just a rogues gallery of killers. People tell you that all the time, and we used to take pride in that because we felt like people from New York were coming in to take what we had.
Right.
We invented this. There was nothing here.
Goddamn right, Tony D. That's what I say.
And it's such a working class mentality.
Yeah.
But that's how we felt. That these guys can't come in here and tell us how to do our jobs, or they're getting paid way more than us just because they've been on TV and stuff like that.
Right.
So we actually prided ourselves in making people work.
Well, that's what bothered me a little bit, too, because it was like anyone that told two fucking jokes were like, "All right, I'm taking the fun walk bus to New York. See you idiots later."
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking around Boston. You fucking ain't making it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of that bullshit.
Well, you have to make a decision, about your quality of life. I took my shots. I was in New York. I did L.A., sort of half-heartedly, but I never liked both of those places. And I would always keep my place here, and this was home. And then when my kids came along, I decided, for good or bad, this is where I was going to raise them. I didn't want to raise them in filthy New York or L.A. where fucking people's dogs have psychiatrists. It's just like, dude, it's not reality, man. It's just, I can't have them thinking, this shit is okay to think about.
Right. And honestly, I think the fucking pandemic wise, like for me, that highlighted like, all right, the weather blows, but this is where I want to be.
Right.
People can fucking kind of use their heads around it.
And ironically, and maybe this is just life, maybe biting you in the ass for your own hubris or whatever. My son lives in L.A. and my daughter lives in New York.
In New York, so
there you
go.
So it's like, there you go. So
totally.
Are there any forms of comedy or comedians that you've seen you go, "Why are you here? I don't even get what you're doing," and you go, "Okay."
That's a tough one, Lauren, because you can have an opinion, but the crowds will dictate.
Oh, that's true.
But look, I have no use for Sebastian Maniscalco. None whatsoever.
The way he talks drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, he just, I don't know.
But I can't take anything away from what he's accomplished.
Everyone at work loves him.
Yeah, people love him. He's the kind of guy, he could literally have a new hour every day because all he does is act out what he's done in a very exaggerated manner.
Yeah.
Is that valid? I
him
guess
and his
so.
people,
He's selling
yeah.
out. He's selling out arenas.
Yeah.
I have no personal use for it.
Yeah.
I see the trick. It doesn't
Yes.
appeal to me.
Right.
I don't think it's clever on any level.
I'm with you.
But he's
People like it.
people love it, and I can't question that. I don't question that. It's same with Billy Joel and me. I wouldn't walk across the street to piss on Billy Joel if he was on fire. But he sells out Madison Square Garden once a month.
I saw him at Fenway 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Played his intro song. Looked at the audience. He goes, "I have no new shit to play you. So here's everything I play every single time."
Yeah.
He'll pretty much look at you, and go like, "You fucking suckers.
You suckers.
I have no new shit.
Nothing. Right. And I can't imagine it's gotten better
And
with
everyone's
age.
like, yeah.
People love him.
my God.
I don't get him. I don't get it.
Well, that's the thing that kind of makes me crazy when I go to a comedy show and, I see comics that I've, been watching and stuff, and they have the same material. And I'm
For
like,
years now, though.
For
like,
years. And I'm like,
Some people.
have you written anything
No.
new?
anything even become
Just
amusing
out of
to you at some
curiosity.
point?
I mean, I'm just like, you mean like nothing has made you laugh or made you go, I need to work this into a bit in like a year or 2 or 3? Really?
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, that's
And those people call themselves comedians too.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I have contemporaries who haven't changed much of an act in 30 years, and it still works, and they
I
think
know.
that's what you do. But like I said, there's no rules to what we do. If you can,
Oh,
if
that's
you
true.
can, if you can get by with it, there's people working today who, every word comes out exactly the same way every single time, and they're very popular. And you go like, okay, I couldn't live with myself doing that, but that's you.
yeah.
Well, here's a question. There's my last question. I kind of want to put it to you. A lot of the old people, like in life, are always like, the younger generation, you guys got it so good. You fucking, which they always amazed me because I thought that was the point of society, was the fucking.
Sure.
It got easier for people that but. My thing is though, we like being a comedian, like kind of ensures kind of a dark end in my book, because for some reason, like we never die of good causes, like, I mean,
Right.
And there's always this dark, thing that everyone, the comedians are dark. Here's my thing. Do you think that the younger people and the younger generation, they don't have that misery that we kind of like, because what we kind of doing are taking a defense
Right.
mechanism and monetizing it.
Yeah.
Do you think that like the younger kids, like, and not that like they didn't suffer enough? I'm happy they didn't suffer enough.
Sure.
But do you think that?
Well, I think it's reflected in their humor.
Yeah.
Nobody writes jokes anymore. It's
Yeah.
all these ironic stories about going to, Starbucks or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just a rambling story with cute little messages.
Yeah.
But every generation puts their own stamp on it.
That's true.
It's not for me to judge. I get a kick out. Just a couple weeks ago, they had last week actually, they had a headliner fall out at Laugh Boston. Missed his plane or plane got canceled or something like that.
Gotcha.
So they decided literally in the afternoon to have a Boston showcase, all Boston show. So they called and said, "You open tonight?" And it was a Thursday. I go, "Yeah, sure." And I go over, and it was all young people. And for me to get in front of young people is the most nerve-wracking thing in the world.
Wow, you
yeah,
really pull that off. Man.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's when my audience is with me, or same generation or within 10 years, one way or the other, I can get them. I understand the reference points and blah, blah, blah. But when I see young people, I know they live in a different world.
Gotcha.
And when I can make young people like that laugh, it means the world to me.
Gotcha.
I get so jazzed about that. Like I had a particularly good set at Laugh, and they got it, and it was all young couples and stuff like that, and a couple of people tried to challenge me early on, and I put them exactly where they belonged, and
Right.
Every day you got to earn the respect of the audience. You get no credit for time served in our business. You can't look at an audience and go, "Hey, last night this shit killed."
Yeah.
They don't care.
No.
It's got to kill right now.
Right there.
So to see that, I mean, so every once in a while to work to like young crowds, I get really jazzed and nervous, but when it works, I'm supremely thrilled.
Which, like, and again, a put over festival, like, I'm guilty, but like that's the one thing, like, of you, like, of your ilk, like we were at a distillery like about 3 weeks ago where there was like maybe 9 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
And like, but your material is like cross generational. I
do that on purpose. I want to. I want to get across to the widest group of people I can.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get lazy, and you suffer, the limitations of the places you work. And it's the same with these people you're talking about. They can do the same act for 30 years because the audience changes, and it's their greatest hits, and it's what people come to see. And as long if nobody questions it, then you'll keep doing that. If you don't. If you're not doing it for yourself. Plus that winery show you mentioned, that was a good one because we put Lauren on the show, and everybody knew except Lauren.
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
The booker asked me if it was okay if I if I thought Lauren could go on. I said of course she could go on.
Right.
I'm a huge backer of yours, and then he goes, okay, so it's okay if I put her on for 5. I go, yeah, 100%. So he assumed I was going to tell her. I assumed he was going to tell her.
Yeah.
No one told Lauren.
So all of a sudden, the first comic is on. She's doing great. Dave Radigan taps me on the shoulder. Says, "Well, come over here." And I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Yeah, you're on next." I'm like, "Okay, thank you so much."
And I'm in the wings, like, ah, ha, ha.
And I'm just like, he goes, "Oh, didn't Tony tell you?"
Right.
I'm like,
No.
And then when I
was too
Tony,
busy out smoking cigars. I get shit to do.
And then I saw Tony after the show, and I'm like, he goes, "Oh, didn't Dave tell you?" I'm like,
Yeah.
No, but it was great, except the spotlight I think burned my cornea.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought of the best line afterwards, and I hate when I do that. I was gonna get off stage and go into the light, Carol Ann. Go, come on, you can do it. But that was a good show. I mean, it was a small audience, but it was such a good show.
Yeah.
We had great comics on, and the place was beautiful, and it was just. It's those magical kind of moments you get.
But, I mean, think of it. I mean, you can think of it as not being a big crowd. But now think of it in this light. Those people saw something nobody else will ever see.
Yeah.
That group of people, that temperament, you're being surprised. You know what I mean? That's the things you got to key on.
Yeah.
To not go nuts, that there was some intrinsic value in what we did to those people. And not, if there were 18 people, 18 of them walked out thrilled. And I know the owners loved it because I talked to them from the stage.
Oh, yeah.
And they were, so that's how things build.
And
that's the thing. Those are those special kind of moments. Like we've been doing the Steve's Pinehurst Tavern in Bill Ricketts, one of Dave Radigan's shows. And it's an open mic. It's a booked open mic.
Right.
But we have like a real crowd. Like people are coming in for dinner and they're staying for the show. And I was doing a new bit and I thought it did well. I got a few laughs from the drunk man in the back. But I liked it. I liked how it went. I definitely think I can work on it some more. But as I was leaving that night, the waitresses were out having a break. And they're like, "Oh my God, you were so funny. We love your stuff." And I'm like, "Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that."
Yeah, and
I was like, "Yes, that's why I'm doing that."
And those
Mars needs women too.
And those are people who see everything.
Yeah,
so to stick out in their minds is, that means something.
To me, if I'm making those waitresses who work harder than anybody, if I'm making them laugh, my job is done for that night.
And also too, it's also like that's the one thing I love about good comedians, and because you're not only just making people laugh, you're also planting like a germ of a thought. Usually, because no matter who you are, you still remember some part of the set from whoever you saw as a comedian. I know that I do. It's like an encyclopedia for me now, from like Bobcat, from all the way down. And, but you're also I think good comedians, especially now, because that was the one good thing about the show about the winery. Okay, maybe 12, 13 people. But when we all went out to the parking lot, because we all had a good time and we all laughed. And that crowd went from me to the guy with the Trump flags like hanging off his
Right,
off
right.
his truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, the comedy was the great bomb. Like no one gives a fuck about that bullshit. Well, they shouldn't when you know when that's being done. So
Well, Bobby Collins did that when he was at Giggles, and you know he took shots at Trump and he also took shots at Biden, but the comedy covered everybody.
yeah, I think we have to.
Even
that's
though
our duty
there
now.
were probably some Trumpers in the audience because there always are, but the comedy covered everybody. Yeah. And when you can get everybody laughing,
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah,
it is huge.
Yeah.
I think that's our
I'm
mission.
sorry,
bro.
that is ginormous. To me.
I think we can all agree that once you get to the flags on your truck as your statement, you've really lost.
And Tony, you would fucking think that. I went down to Nashville and I thought that you'd see this down the South like no other.
Right.
It's a fucking Boston thing. Like,
Oh,
all these guys that like have girlfriends that listen to country music bought these fucking ridiculous trucks. I mean, oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought this was a redneck thing. No, it's a fucking.
No, it's a working class thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think the next step from the flags on the pickup truck, so that when you got flags on your 3-wheeled bicycle with the basket, that's really time to pack it in.
Well, it's
this
matriculating.
This is what I think. Waving behind me.
Right. And it is matriculating down to the kids though too.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
But it's definitely we live in strange times. But I think that if we put our minds to it, man, we can get these people laughing again.
Sure.
Basically, comedy just saves.
Yeah, it saved me.
Yeah,
man.
but you know, again, you know, you live long enough, you see cycles and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when comedy started, and the comedy I grew up with, it was subversive.
Yeah.
You know, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, people like that. They started talking and taking on, you know, government and this and that. Yeah, and then somewhere in the 80s, it started turning around, and now it's become, you know, the megaphone for the right. That, you know, it's the rallying support for whatever misguided thing, because some of the easiest comedy is to take whatever's popular and just go against it. You know, hey, did you ever see this thing with the guy with the thing? He sucks. You know, and that substitutes as a joke.
Yeah.
You know, and people, now it's like a fucking rally.
Like I never got what's his name from Taxi there, the anti-comedian that died of cancer. What was his name?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
I never got that. I never thought it was entertaining, but I know people have.
Yeah.
But that's the thing we're also seeing too when we go to open mics and shows and everything. And I know we can probably discuss this for like 3 hours, but a lot of the kids who are coming up, and I call them kids because they're definitely younger than me. I'm old enough to be some of their moms, for God's sakes. But they're not. There is no da-dun, boom, punchline. No. It's just rambling. And I'm like...
Yeah, it's just telling a story. You know, I go, look...
But they're not even telling it well.
Yeah. I go, look, if you want to tell a story, there's the moth. You know, you go tell us, tell us. Right. But this is, no matter what you call it, a story, a bit, sketch, joke, there's got to be a surprise. There's got to be a twist that makes the audience go, oh, I wasn't thinking that.
You got to be clever.
Yeah.
I have one final question for Mr. V. And I know you worked with him, but what was your take on Robin Williams?
You know, he was good friends with my good friend Bobcat Goldthwait, and Bobcat and I have been friends for 40-something years. I owe a lot to that man, to Bobcat, and he introduced me to Robin early on, and Robin and I were not super friends, but friendly.
Yeah. When
he came to do Goodwill Hunting, we went to dinner, and you know, we hung out more than several times, and he was one of the most prolific people I've ever. He was like a sponge. He just took in everything, and had sort of a reputation for regurgitating some of that without knowing it. You know, people accused him of stealing jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was on purpose. I think he just took everything in, and it became the paint for his palate, because his mind would go, and he was one of the most clever and generous people I've ever met in my life. You know, I remember playing blackjack with him in Vegas one time, where we had a table where everybody could bet at their own level because his level and mine are completely different. And it was Bobcat, Robin, Jimmy Dunn, my good friend Jimmy Dunn, who I have a podcast with, Two Boston Guys Whack Up a Pie.
Absolutely.
Yes, that we just let out. We just put out we did it live at the Rex Theater last week, and it came out pretty good. We were happy with it.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, it's good.
Good.
And we had just so much fun, and he was just so generous. And even when I did The World's Greatest Dad with him, with Robin, he did something that really, without speaking, it meant the world to me. Where he would have him shot out first. They would do his close-ups first, so I would get to run the scene multiple times before they turned the camera on me, knowing that I was a pretty inexperienced actor at the time. Yeah. And without saying that, he recognized it and knew it and knew I could, benefit from, working with more time. So he purposely did that in every single scene. And it wasn't until afterwards that I sort of realized, and I said, I know what you did. And he just smiled, because he had nothing. I mean, he was, he won 2 Oscars and he's Robin Williams.
Right.
But the fact that he would even think to, because we're friends, that he would do that for me just speaks to exactly who he was.
Yeah, his empathy level seemed to be.
Yeah.
Wow. I just want to say thank you for.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
You kidding me?
I got one fun. My buddy, who actually he has a podcast as well, American Debauchery. Dwayne Bruce used to be an FNX DJ, but he told me to give you his best. He said you guys used to do a ton of stuff together back in the day.
Yeah. I'm good buddies with Neil Robert, who was the jock over there too, and so we all used to hang out there. I was old to them back then.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
you're young to me now.
Yeah. So it's a long, strange trip, man.
It is. It definitely is, man. But he definitely want to say hi. And I told
him.
Hi
back.
Rocktober's going on.
I love my Rocktober. Somebody took a swipe at Rocktober. Like, I can't believe. I go. Are you kidding me? It's fucking Rocktober, man.
People like to hate.
It will be. Yes.
Well, I have a little story. I want to share a little story. So back around 1 million years ago, when I first moved to Attleboro, our local movie theater had a comedy night, and me and my husband and another couple went to see comedy night. And come to find out, I remembered many years later that I actually saw you on stage.
Really?
It was the Attleboro Union Theater.
Okay.
And this is the line that has stuck in my head for the past, I don't even know how many years. You were doing a bit and you said, but come to our side. We have pie.
We have pie. I remember that bit. The bit was they had just come out and said like 67% of Americans were obese.
Yes.
And nice. I go, what are the rest of you hanging on to? Come over to our side. We have pie.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then 20 some odd years later, I'm taking comedy lessons from this man.
Yeah.
And here I am.
And here he is.
I had a guy, we got to go, I know. But I had a guy 6 or 8 months ago come to a show at Giggles, and he's a psychologist, a practicing psychologist in New Hampshire. And he pulled me aside afterwards. He goes, I saw you 25 years ago. And I go, oh, it's good memory, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and a joke of yours, I have turned into a cartoon to help my patients. And I go, what? And he showed me. He had a cartoon made of a joke. And the joke was simply, how come there are no fat mimes? It's because they can't fit in that box. And that was the joke.
Nice.
And he had it made up,
right?
And that's he says I use that with patients as a breakthrough moment. There's no box. You're creating your own box, blah blah blah. And I go, dude, it's just a fucking joke,
right?
But you never know how they're gonna land with people.
You never
he
know.
Goes, I got them up on my wall. I use them all the time as reference points.
I'm telling you that is the secret gift that comedians give is we backdoor into their brains.
Yeah,
somehow,
you don't
man.
know who you touch.
Exactly.
Well, then the funny thing is, Tony and I have a mutual friend that I didn't realize, George McDonald.
Oh yeah.
And I had told George, hey, guess what? I'm taking a stand-up class. He goes, who's your teacher? I said, Tony V. He goes, well, you couldn't be in better hands, young lady. You will learn so much. And then I told Tony who I know, and he's like, oh my God, to get that compliment from George. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's like you never know who you're going to meet
know.
and run into, and how these connections kind of propel you to a whole nother level in your life.
Exactly.
Will you come back and be on our podcast and tell us more stories?
We'd love to
100%.
have you back, definitely.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, easy.
Kev, what do you got coming up this week, buddy?
This week, who the fuck
Election
knows?
day.
I don't know. I got fucking sports up the ass. Fucking.
Wow, there's a podcast right there.
Sports
Up
up
the
the
ass.
Fucking great Santini.
I gotta get to Roslindale.
Yeah, good
which
luck.
might as well be fucking Oregon.
Might as well be Jerusalem.
Such on the fucking other side of the city.
Yeah, take the Appalachian
Like
Trail.
the Roslindale Parkway. Another Parkway Youth Hockey.
Oh.
Call it fucking West Rock. Well, it's the rink is on the VFW Parkway.
Okay, sure.
It's like calling fucking Dorchester fucking Marcy Boulevard.
Yes.
Call it fucking West Roxbury, you fucking weirdos.
I'm with you.
So I gotta get to Roslindale.
I can't believe that Rossi is actually part of Boston. I mean, you can get to New Hampshire quicker.
So they're playing. So they're playing this in the street hockey court. Fucking top notch. Fucking beautiful. I'm like, oh, you guys had fucking Menino for fucking 100 years.
Right.
Then who do we get? Fucking Dorchester. Our boy gets in there. We got that fucking loser, Marty Walsh. Fucking biggest disappointment in fucking Boston's history.
Well, you guys had Tommy Finneran, man. It balanced out.
Oh, no, he was a Milton guy, wasn't he?
It counts.
Yeah, fucking Christ.
Lauren, what you got coming up this week? We got to get you off to some birthday parties.
Oh God, yes. I hope I won't have to pay for therapy later on in life. Yeah, we got birthday parties for my girls. I now have a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you, Heaven help me. Do we have a comedy next week? We have a little bit, but we got other
Green
things.
Dragon Monday.
We got Green Dragon Monday, and then I think we're just going to be laying low because we got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Well, I know I have some stuff
I got
in
some
my life.
family shit.
Oh
No
yeah,
other,
we got a whole
so.
bunch of stuff.
Aye. Well, anyway, folks, please go check out. I know when does Dirty Oober come out, Tony?
It's out. You can get it at FOC on YouTube, I think,
Oh, cool.
and somewhere else. But it's making. We won like the 12.
You did?
Yeah, short comedy things. It's Lenny Clark, myself, Jordan Toffolo directed and is in it with us. And it's doing pretty well. So
Awesome.
yeah. So you can see it on YouTube, and then I don't know where they're going to release it after that.
Okay.
And the podcast, Two Boston
Two
Guys.
Boston guys whack up a pie.
I always look at every Wednesday. You guys drop it.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Hey, every now and again it's Thursday or Friday, but we get it out.
Absolutely. And good job. I laugh every time. A lot of whimsy on that, man. And thank you again for coming out. We're going to send everybody off. We'll be back hopefully in like 2 weeks with more craziness. And thanks for listening, folks. Let me tell you this about that. We'll be back soon. Talk to you later.
Hey, I ain't never coming home. Hey, I'm just wandering my own road. Hey, I can meet you here tomorrow. No, say goodbye, don't follow. Misery so hollow. life worthwhile. Pass me down that bottle, yeah. Hey, you can't shake me round now. I get so lost and don't know how. It hurts to care, I'm going down. Say goodbye, don't